In the previous module, we learnt about the three layers of the brain: the logic brain, the mammal brain, and the reptile brain. As neuroscience suggests, reptilian is the most dominant, which means this brain largely determines the choices that we make. To understand the reptilian brain, just observe a reptile. All it cares about is survival, safety, and sustenance for itself. The response to any external stimuli is immediate. Notice how reptiles respond to slightest aggression. Even though humans have evolved over years to more sophisticated intellectual and social beings, survival is still the primary need for all of us. It is because of the reptilian brain that we avoid walking into a dark lane. We run away when there's an explosion or fire, or intuitively feel discomfort in the presence of a stranger. Naturally, therefore, the choices of your customer is also influenced a great deal by the way their reptilian brain perceives. Has a prospective customer ever walked away when they saw you approaching? Have they hung up on your calls in the middle of a conversation? Have they been rude at the very first instance? Have they avoided speaking with you in some way? Truth is, we have all experienced this with our customers at some point. We may have dismissed these behaviors. However, there is a high possibility that these behaviors are responses triggered by your customer's reptilian brain. How can you possibly influence a more favorable response? The answer to this is not simple or straightforward. Imagine you try to befriend an animal or a bird. The bird could attack you. It could fly away or snuggle up in your arms. If you could explain what exactly makes the bird trust you and rest on your palm, then you found the answer. In our earlier module, we saw how buyers are influenced by brand ambassadors. For example, in this case of a health drink, buyers are likely to reject the product if their brand ambassador appears weak, frail, and unhealthy. Logically speaking, a brand ambassador has only signed a contract to promote the brand. Promoting a brand does not mean consuming their product, which means in this case, their physical weakness is not necessarily attributable to the product. In a logical sense, we all understand this. Yet, unconsciously we reject the product because the brand ambassador does not seem to align with what the brand promises. As sales or service agents, each one of you is essentially a brand ambassador for the product you sell or promote. Therefore, we must ask ourselves if we are justifying as a brand ambassador. Let's try to break down what your customer's reptile brain perceives. They perceive you as a person. They perceive the product that you're selling or promoting. And they also perceive the brand, company, or the organization which you represent. Most customers have an innate need to deal with people who they perceive as trustworthy. Interestingly, how you perceive the customer plays out in the way the customer perceives you. If you see a customer as a mere tool to achieve your target, then the customer's reptile brain sees a predator in you and tries to escape. When you view a customer with an attitude of genuine service, the customer's reptile brain feels safe and lets you in. The mindset and attitude of service is not something that you can force into yourself. Therefore, building trust is not something that can be acquired at the press of a button. It requires you to develop sensitivity towards a customer and be sensible about the way you present yourself. Anything that is obscure or hazy causes the reptile brain to get cautious of a potential threat. Lack of clarity may make the brain feel that the product has a problem, which is hidden within layers of complexities. You must explain the product and its related procedures in a manner that the customer gets the required clarity. The clearer customer understands the product, safer their reptile brain feels. Besides, you must depict a visible conviction on the product. This will provide an assurance to the reptile brain. Reptile brain does not understand value or price. All it seeks is an assurance that the product does not intend to cause any harm. A known brand is a safe brand. But reptile brain is not seeking to compare and find out if your company is high on popularity or whether it ranks high in competition. The reptile brain needs to know that your organization is safe to deal with. It has proper internal procedures. There is a way to seek redressal in case of a grievance, or largely that the organization abides by laws and regulations. Therefore, you must impart the required details about the brand, the promoters, the service and compliance standards so as to give your customers the required assurance. Being a brand ambassador requires you to be sensitive towards these tendencies of your customer's reptilian brain.